Dr. Mollie Marti. Welcome to Resiliency Matters. This is the show where we take that big resiliency research and best practices and we break it down into small bite-sized tools that you can use immediately to better cope with and grow through life's adversity. If we could share with you simple tips that help you strengthen a child to make a child more safe while making your life more meaningful, would you spend the next 28 minutes with us? If we could share a simple reminder in the next few minutes that is based on years of resiliency research, would you hang out with us? Who is us? I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Jennifer Holub Tischer, newlywed. Jennifer is the guidance counselor at Mount Vernon Middle School, and she is part of the crisis response team. Mount Vernon, Iowa has been through some great challenges over the last couple of years. In the 2010-11 school year, we lost 3 students to suicide, and you've really been on the front lines to that. So we are so appreciative of you being here today to share with us your lessons and your guidance. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Thrive Mount Vernon. Let's start there. The Community Resiliency Project is working with Mount Vernon as its first pilot thriving community. Tell us about Thrive Mount Vernon.
Thrive Mount Vernon to me is really a community-based effort to address resiliency throughout the community, both collectively as a community itself and then throughout the individuals involved. I see it driven primarily by adults versus kids without disregarding their input. Of course, we want to get them involved as much as possible, but it's primarily adults that are working together to build resiliency. We're relying on the Community Resiliency Project for a lot of leadership there.
And then you talked about the kids side to it, and we do have that organization as well that kind of resides in the school, Thrive Mustangs. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that counterpart.
Thrive Mustangs is really important to me, especially as the school counselor. I've struggled over the years to sort of capture the concepts that we really focus on as a school district, and as most people are aware, in recent years we've really expanded sort of our the breadth of issues that we address as a school district, and it can sometimes feel overwhelming. So Thrive Mustangs is a great way for us to sort of create an umbrella or brand name for what we do in regards to students as whole persons. It includes academics, of course, as a school, but also it addresses every part of their life: personal, social, emotional health, communication, and then trusted adults is a really important part of that.
And we're going to be talking more about trusted adults this half hour. You have come up with a campaign, and I remember we've had many meetings, but I remember that meeting where we were trying to boil down the EASY model: engage, connect, challenge, enrich. Years of research going into that model, and we tried to boil it down in a way that kids would understand it, that it could help mobilize the community. Tell us what campaign we've come up with and what is going on with that.
The phrase that we came up with is "You matter," or "You matter, we need you." Sorry, I'm stumbling now. And I think it really captures exactly what we're trying to do as a school district, as a community, with Thrive Mount Vernon, with the Community Resiliency Project, with Thrive Mustangs. And the concept basically means that every person matters, they're valuable, they can contribute to each other, and that we care that they're here with us. And then also with that, we need you in that we need you to be present with us. You're part of our community, part of our family in many cases, and we need you to identify your unique strengths and your gifts and talents, and to also employ those, like we are working so hard to do, in the community and give back.
And we have shared in previous shows, and our viewers know that they can go to CR Project, communityresiliencyproject.org, for resources. But that "You Matter, We Need You" really takes us from that first engage, where we say to our youth, we see you, we hear you. It helps them meet that need to belong. We appreciate you, we're glad you're here, we celebrate you, we accept you just as you are. And so that's so powerful to say "You matter," all the way up to the "You need," we need you. The very last contributor to the enrich is contributing, and we're going to be talking more about what that means and why that's so powerful. But that's where the "we need you, you matter" comes in as well to fit on that resiliency research to bring that to life. So as promised, we've been talking about simple ways that we can enrich and help kids stay safe while we make life more meaningful to us. How does this come together? What does the resiliency research show along the lines of you matter, we need you?
The research really shows that as people contribute to others, they also are contributing to their own well-being, and that we can encourage people to be involved and get a double whammy effect, both for the giver and the receiver. And I'm just thinking, over the past winter, I have 3 little boys, and they went over to the neighbor's house, unbeknownst to me, and began to shovel their driveway. And I can distinctly remember one of them, he's 7, saying to me, "My heart feels really good when I give to other people." And yes, it does. And we all know this cognitively, but when we actually employ our time and our skills, it really brings a big payoff for everyone involved.
And so part of this campaign is really to provide a structure, a system, a way that we take that research and we make it doable. We make it, to borrow the Blue Zones, the easy choice, the right choice, the easy choice. And so that's behind the You Matter, We Need You. We started in Mount Vernon with lighted up camps, leadership camps. Let's talk a little bit about how we started to communicate this message to our youth.
Mustang leadership camps are kind of the camp idea itself is not unique, but it's sort of unique for a community to be establishing organized activities where students can come and learn leadership skills. And our idea is that every person can be a leader with their own unique abilities and skills to someone or some people. And so we provided these opportunities, and we will continue to in Mount Vernon for students. We have kids as young as 1st and 2nd grade that show up, although it's supposed to be sort of targeted to 3rd through 8th. People are really excited about it, and whole families will come and join in. We do a lot of fun activities that are centered on the very concepts in the ECCE model, and the You Matter, We Need You campaign. It really is a nice accompaniment to that.
So an example that stands out to me is the Lighted Up project that we did with one, and that's where we gave the kids sheets, and we started out and we asked the questions, how many of you know something that just lights you up? It could be a sport, it could be an art, it could be writing, it could be music, it could be anything. You just love doing it, you love sharing it, and about half the hands went up. And then we said, okay, we'll continue to ask questions to help you identify, because you all have that light within you. And so we'd ask them some questions, and more hands would go up. We kept going till everybody's hand was up, and then they thought of another one and another one. They filled out the sheets where, what is your light? What are you doing to grow it? Who helps you grow it? And that's going to be what we talk about next with our trusted adults. And how do you share it? And so it brings us back to that point that it is in sharing, it is in contributing your unique talents to help encourage others, that it improves your well-being as much as the other people's. It improves the giver as much as the receiver. And so that's really what we're helping our kids understand, that it's about strengthening yourself and strengthening others. When we come back, we are going to talk more about this research in very practical ways about how Mount Vernon is growing their youth and how you can at home. Hi, I'm Dr. Mollie Marti. Welcome back to Resiliency Matters. We are visiting with Jennifer Holub Tischer, the counselor at Mount Vernon Middle School. And you really have been on the front lines with the 3 suicides that we had in Mount Vernon. Member of the crisis team, you were on location for a lot of the responses, and day in and day out in the school, as well as the community. So you have so much to share with us. I'm putting it kind of in order. I have a lot of questions for you. We were talking about the leadership camps, and those have been really instrumental. They started shortly after the 3rd loss, and quarterly we've been running leadership camps for grades 3 through 8th. But as you mentioned, we'll get calls from parents of 2nd graders and 1st graders. Can I have a child come? They really want to come, and so we've been extending that. Share another leadership camp that stands out to you as something that had a lot of impact on the kids.
I would say one of my favorites was the Be Nice project, we called it, where we had a large group of kids that showed up for camp, and we had quite a few adults that accompanied to help, and we basically made a poster campaign. It was very simple concept, but sorely needed in a time when people were really trying to recover and were struggling with some pretty rough feelings and emotions, and there were some kind of negative trends going throughout the community. And so we just took a step back and said, let's just look at the big picture, do something very simple. And so they made some beautiful posters, really creative, and they were, really excited about it. It was so fun to do them. And then the best part was we got our walk-in shoes on and walked downtown as a big group and asked businesses to tape them in their windows in support of the Be Nice project. And so it was a great learning opportunity for kids to walk into a business and speak to the owner, speak to the person behind the counter and ask them and explain what the project was and what it was all about. And it was really interesting also to watch the owner's response or the business person's response, and they just kind of lit up and thought, this is a great concept. And it was awesome to just watch, to drive up and down Main Street then for the next week or 2 or 3 or 4, however, some are still up actually, and see them blanketing downtown. It was really cool.
It really was. Yeah, I think we asked them to keep them up for a week, and they were up 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and
quite a long time.
Make good choices, respect each other, be nice, be kind. It was a great project. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Going back to that time, I want to talk kind of about some initial response, and I know not all of our listeners are going to be post-crisis, but so many of these tools are relevant today. After the Newtown tragedies, after the Boston Marathon tragedies, which our hearts are still in Boston, it's so recent, and so going back, what did you do with the kids, or maybe Search Institute? Let's start there.
Well, one of the things that I really worked hard to do in my work is have a strength-based approach, because there's negativity and bad things that happen every day in our lives, and if we focus on those, of course, we're going to be in a bad place. And so one of the most powerful organizations and tools that I found in my years of experience is through the Search Institute. And so what they do is promote what they call 40 developmental assets, and basically those are experiences and qualities or characteristics of people that we know serve as protective factors, and will protect them from problem behaviors, but will also build and promote healthy behaviors and attitudes. Very powerful research. So they've researched almost 150,000 students in 6th through 12th grade to boil it down to this list of 40 developmental assets, they call them. So we worked with the Search Institute to bring in a trainer, and we trained our entire school district staff on the Search Institute premises and the 40 developmental assets. And we also did a community-based meeting, which is so incredibly important. Schools can't do it alone, as Jamie Vollmer has so well put it. And so that was really sort of the kickoff for a lot of these different initiatives, including the leadership camp, and even, looking back, Community Resiliency Project and the Mustangs Thrive and Thrive Mount Vernon. So it was a really good jump start for us.
And those 40 assets, they have them on a one sheet, a PDF. You can go to searchinstitute.org, also at communityresiliencyproject.org. Under our free resources, you can download a PDF. I have it in my home. I've seen it on the walls of your school office. So I really encourage parents to post that on the fridge, by your computer somewhere. So go to free resources and download those 40 assets. It's really what kids need to thrive. And it's really what we as humans need to thrive. And so much of this work we're talking about, you build healthy kids, but you're building yourself as you do that.
Absolutely.
Then another thing we did pretty quickly is we looked to the power of our youth to help other youth. How do you become aware of what are the warning signs? How do you have conversations with your peers, your friends, to go talk to an adult? Tell us a little bit about the peer leadership work in trusted adults.
Well, research definitely indicates that students are much more likely to go to peers first for help than adults. And of course, peers are great. You want to have friends, and I would never discourage that, but they don't often have the resources or knowledge or experience that they need in order to really help a student and equip them to be safe if they're in a dangerous place. And so, again, back to research, the wealth of of research shows, I mean, across different practices, if you're talking social work, if you're talking resiliency, if you're talking education, any of those would indicate that building relationships with trusted adults is critical. And, you know, our culture, we could speak to this for the rest of the hour probably, but really kind of works against that in a lot of ways right now. And so we're making extra efforts to really push that with the concept of trusted adults. The research shows that kids really need 3 or more aside from their parents, in addition to their parents, in order to be the best that they can be.
Yeah, and we have these cards I know you print up, and we again have this at the website. We'll share a picture here of this tree of trust that the art club put in the middle school on the wall, where kids identify who are their trusted adults. And this is also a business card that you have created for your peer leaders, where they can list their trusted adults, their cell phone numbers, and so when they have a friend in trouble, they can say, hey, this is who I talk to. Would you trust him or just ask for some help? So that's your takeaway. Tool number 2 today is encourage children to build relationships with trusted adults, and most importantly, be a trusted adult. Hi, this is Dr. Mollie Marti. Welcome back to Resiliency Matters. We are here with Jennifer Holub Tischer, the counselor at the Mount Vernon Middle School. And we were talking about this great business card that you have given to your peer leaders. And I want to talk a little bit more about peer leaders. What is this group?
Peer leaders are students who were selected for the Sources of Strength program, we call it, and it is a research-based program that's a nationally recognized program that equips peers with the skills that they need to sort of triage a little bit. It sounds a little bit dramatic to use that word, but really when a student comes to them as a peer versus having the courage to go to an adult, they are equipped with the knowledge that they need to refer them and to make sure that they're safe.
And that group is kind of shifting from postvention. That's always an important part. We need to know what the warning signs are. We need to have the connection so we get them help. But they're also doing a lot of norm shifting.
Absolutely. The intention was to serve in the role that we just described, and really it has become more of an advocacy group where they're supporting changes in social norms across the board. Changing social norms is definitely a part of postvention in regard to help seeking. Trusted adults is another strategy that we use, but they are also a great resource for us in terms of just getting feedback for different programming that we're looking at doing, or ideas about where to put the tree of trust in the hallway, or they serve as ambassadors for new students now. They are able to sort of be hosts for guest speakers that we have. They are really learning a lot of interesting and really invaluable leadership skills in those roles, and I think we've just brushed the surface of what they're capable of doing. It's really exciting.
It's a great thing about kids. They surprise you, and the more you ask of them, that's part of the easy model, that challenge. You need to set the bar high and support them to get there, but boy, they surprise you with their creativity and innovation. I'm just thinking about how far we have come in many ways with these kids, this general transition from postvention, crisis response to resiliency building. One thing that really helped us along the lines, and this is the tool I want to share for this segment, is when we had a lot of negativity in that immediate grieving stage, and I know it's not done, it's a healing process, but we had a lot of behaviors that went on. Tell me what are just things that are normal, and the reason I want to talk about this is, like I said, there are communities that experience loss every day, and they might think, oh, we're not handling this very well. Look at all of the bad stuff going on. Let's normalize that a little. What did Mount Vernon look like? What went on?
Well, we had a lot of blaming and asking the question why, and trying to pinpoint, what was the reason for all of this happening? Why did we lose these 3 teens? And of course, that's normal human nature to try to figure that out, and it's normal for people to blame, and because they're just trying to make sense of it in their psyche, which may be impossible with suicide, of course. So people were stressed out, they were grieving, they were they were fearful for their own children and for it happening again, a fourth time or a fifth time or sixth time. I mean, a lot of people were really kind of panicked, honestly. And so a lot of assumptions were made, and there were rumors, and there were just a lot of negativity and real dysfunctional kinds of communication happening. And so we wanted to work hard to try to put a stop to that. And Pam Ewell's our superintendent, and she was trying to come up with some strategies to support a change from that pattern. And one of them was to work with Grantwood AEA as a part of a study basically of Jamie Vollmer's work, Schools Cannot Do It Alone. And he's got what's called the 5 S's of success, and they involve really positive communication versus dysfunctional and negative. And that has been really helpful for us.
Great. And we have those available again on the website, crproject.org, what the 5 S's are and more information on each of them and how we've been applying them. But let's go through those today so that everybody can hear and learn from them. Sure. First S, shift to the positive.
Shift to the positive, in my mind, is really about choosing to program your brain with good things, and choosing to leave negativity out the door, leave negative events sort of outside of what you choose to focus on. And I work with kids every day, and one of the things that I do with them is to talk about how their brain is a personal iPod, because they really understand the concept of an iPod.
Sure they would.
They choose music, they work hard to choose it, they buy it, they download it, they play it over and over and over in their heads. And that's what we do with words, with our cognitive function. We choose what we decide to listen to in our personal iPods. And so really, I think that's what Shift to the Positive is about.
And the psychological research would be that what you focus on expands, and so when you focus on that negativity, it has impacts on your health, on your relationships, on your well-being. And when you focus on the positive, that also makes you more engaged and more hopeful and more connected. S number 2, stop bad-mouthing.
Stop bad-mouthing. Bad-mouthing is just a lose-lose for everyone. Gossip, rumors, choosing to tell that juicy tidbit of information that you heard about somebody. Nobody wins in that situation. And so that's a pretty cut and dry one that our mothers all told us. And so we just need to reinforce that, because the consequences of that can be devastating.
But post-crisis, you do need those reminders. I remember an editorial, and we had written, if you don't know for sure that this is true, don't pass it on.
That's
really
right.
Question, am I going to do good by passing this on, or does it just need to stop here? S number 3, share your social networks.
Share with your social networks is, in my mind, using the technology that we have and the things that we use every day just to engage with our friends and family, to push these positive things that are happening. We know that trouble happens. We know that life can be really difficult. Everybody knows that. There's no sense fostering that concept. It's basically choosing to look for the good things that are happening and sharing them out. For instance, the other day I saw a teacher do something pretty incredible, and those things happen every day, all day long in our building, but it really caught me, and so I took a photo and sent it to the staff and said, yay, good job. And those little things make the world difference for all of us.
Isn't it amazing how just one comment on something positive that happened can really have a ripple effect throughout our community?
Yep.
And we've started, as part of our Thrive Mount Vernon meetings, to celebrate the positive. We've now made that part of our protocol. Number 4, sustain the effort.
Sustain the effort is really, in my mind, about reminding myself to take time and reflect on how I'm doing with that. Where is my state of mind, and what kinds of things am I sharing with people? What am I focusing on when I'm standing in the break room getting a snack? Am I talking about the student that was difficult and I'm feeling kind of irritated, or am I talking about the amazing thing that I just saw a student do down the hall? And so it's a conscious choice. I mean, you could even put it on your calendar. Every Thursday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to take 5 minutes and really think through, how many times this week have I thought about something positive and shared that?
Good. And number 5, start now.
Start now. How to eat an elephant. You take one bite at a time, and so it's just one step, one day at a time in choosing. Because if you're trying to dramatically change anything related to culture and climate, that can be overwhelming. So just take one step at a time.
Great. Those 5 S's are so powerful. Let's review what our 3 takeaways are today. Number 1, contributing your unique talents to help and encourage another improves your well-being as much as it helps the receiver. Number 2, encourage children to have relationships with trusted adults and become a trusted adult. Number 3, learn those 5 S's, support a healthy working environment and community environment. This is Dr. Mollie Marti, full of gratitude to Jennifer Holub Tischer, and here to remind you that you matter, we need you.